Okay, so it seems that Bounty Rush had its update. So let's take a look. Oh. Ugh. What the fuck? No. Okay. Okay, that one works. I like that one. No. Hello, everyone. It is Sanctuary, and I'm here to tell you just what my gripes are with this Annie and what the benefits are to this Annie, because I feel like a lot of people are talking about what units came out on the Annie. They're not really talking about the Annie overall. So let's start off with some of the negatives, just so people can get us onto track. I think the negative of this Annie was having S-Snake be released before the Annie, because she kind of set this precedence that you need to counter her. But the problem was, it wasn't really her, it was really Roger and her. I think the issue with it is kind of, you'll kind of get what I mean afterwards once you start to realize this, is because S-Snake has such a kit that's very annoying to deal with and works too well with Roger. I think one was meant to counter the other, but they work really well. They are a pair to win. If you have a Roger and an S-Snake on the same team, you're bound to win. And I can specify that a little bit more in the next little bits that I'm going to. And the next one I'm going to be talking about is usually some of the units that are coming in for the Annie. Let's say coming in is going to be Lucci. So, Lucci. Let's be completely real, no bias into him. He's a very, very good unit. Let's be completely realistic with what our expectations are. If you can kill the unit, that's not a gripe. You can kill Roger, Dark Roger, and do you see him being shit on the same way that somebody would shit on Lucci? No. Let's be completely realistic. You would not shit on Dark Roger as much as you shit on Lucci. So, what is this? I will say, for him, he is pretty much more guaranteed to be a Dark Roger counter more than anything else. He can deal with S-Snake. I won't get that wrong. But I feel like there's a lot of points where it's just an S-Snake can stall you out way longer than you could kill her. If you catch her by surprise, of course, that fucking skill 1 is brutal. Let's be completely honest. That skill 1 is underrated as hell. And people do not talk about that 70% HP cut. That's crazy amount. But I digress. Overall, I'll give this unit a solid kind of just A tier. I'll be, out of all the EXs that came out, he's really good for what he is. I would rate him a little bit higher than A tier. I could put S tier and everything around those lines. But to be S tier, you need to have broken your meta. He did not really. He was there. I feel like he did really well. People hated him because he was Lucci. I'm going to be completely honest. People did not like Lucci. And you can say oh, people ride or die Lucci. No, they did not. Because the next unit I'm going to talk about, people have written the hell out of that, D. So, which unit am I talking about? Let's go on. It's Shanks. So, Shanks. Let's be completely real. Everyone expected him to break the meta. Everyone expected him to be oh my god, we need to work around this unit. This unit is gonna break. He's gonna have HP cut. He's gonna have fucking no teleport. He's gonna teleport on normals. It's gonna be insane. He's gonna be the best attacker ever. He comes out. He's a runner. He's light. He has just a state that can't be increased. He has HP anti-block. And that's kind of it. Oh, you can also stay alive for a lot longer than normal, but that's not really a problem for a lot of units. So, where do I really put the Shanks? Honestly, I put him around the level of Lucci. Maybe like both of them could probably move down a step, because a lot of these, I think a lot of what Shanks does is he brings back older EXs like Whitebeard. I think he brings back Dark Roger to kind of deal with them. There's other units that come in, like some of the ones that dealt with Dark Roger are going to be really well against this Shanks. Like, I think that's a great positive for this Shanks, because he's bringing back old units to deal with him. My gripe with him, I would say, is that he's not worth the price. Neither is Lucci. I'll be completely honest about both of them. They're not really worth the price. And especially when you're only, like, here's my biggest gripe, I feel like, for Annies, is why are these units solo? It is very annoying to be a free-to-play player and saving all this money just to summon for one unit. You don't understand how dumb that sounds. Oh, I'm saving for an Annie, and I only came out with one unit. And people in other gacha communities would be like, what? So let's go on to a little bit more positive notes. So if you've known this Annie, the biggest things that are coming is this game is coming to Steam, and we got a League update, which means you can team up with people. I'll consider this a positive, because it's very nice. Like, I won't lie about that. It's pretty good. Like, just being able to team up with your friends in League makes this game way more enjoyable than anything else. My gripes with this aren't really on the system itself, more as the rewards. Because it still doesn't really fix the issue of, like, why do you grind League? Because you get battle points, but usually, like, for free-to-play players, you only get freaking bounty, like, you only get step-up frags. And they haven't released a step-up in, like, pretty much, how long has it been? I think 4 months. Yeah, 4 months have been our last step-up, I think. Maybe a little bit longer, I'm not too sure. But yeah, that's my biggest gripe about it, is the rewards are not really worth this update. And that's nothing to do with this update. This update was great. I think it's just Bandai being stingy and not really wanting to release any rewards for, like, League. You could say title, you could say top 100, you gain a little bit more gems, but that's not really a good indicator of, like, why you should grind it. Okay, so now we go on to Steam. And I think this is where it's kind of dumb. What they did is they wanted to release a Steam version, and so now it's kind of weird how they're gonna make it so that mobile players can play with mobile, and then Steam players can play with Steam. I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't think this game is gonna be that popular on Steam, especially the way they treat their free-to-play players. There's no way this game is going to survive on Steam with how shit some of these deals are. Let's be completely real. Are you gonna see a Steam player pay out $300 for one EX? No. And so that's where I think this second move is coming in, which I think you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about afterwards, once I move on to this other topic. But I think this game needs to stick way more into the free-to-play aspect if it wants to survive on Steam. Okay, so our next subject, the After Annie. I think people are underrating this After Annie so freaking hard that we finally got EXs on the same banner, that we have a ticket where you can get multiple EXs. This is huge. You don't understand. This is what I've been waiting for the entire freaking 4 years we've gotten EXs. I thought we were going to get older EXs on the banners that are coming up. And you can be like, well, that sounds dumb. I want the new one. And I say, what do you think about newer players going into this game the first time and having to wait in Annie just to get one EX? That sounds dumb. That sounds really stupid. And so they finally stepped it up, and I think it's because of the Steam version that they're finally releasing EXs on the same banner. And this is huge. I think it's cheaper this way. It's way more free-to-play friendly. Of course, the price could be dictated. Let's be completely honest. But I think it is so like, it is such an improvement from how EX banners were given on reruns. I did not like that you had to spend this much on Roger's rerun, especially when the buffs were that mid. That's a different story. I'll rant about that later. But having to be able to summon on 2 EXs is a great thing, because you can go to guarantee and get both of them. I love that. It is fantastic, a great move in the right direction, and I will have to give Bandai props that they're finally treating this game like a gacha and not a single player, get 1 unit and then you're good game. So overall, what are my thoughts completely about this anni? It was an anni. Let's be completely real. This anni kind of sucked in terms of like things that it did. You can talk about a lot of the units that came out, but that's the same thing. It's units. It's not really anything that Bandai has really had that's cool. Kind of like the treadmill thing was like the best thing about, I think, the 4th or like the 3rd anni. I have to remember that because I'm not too sure about that either. But I digress. I think this anni was mid. It was not good enough to be specifically called like a cool anni. But it wasn't bad either, because there was units, there was things that came in. There was a lot of good moves in the right direction, but there's a lot of bad moves in the wrong direction. 3 buffed units for 5 months is insane. Let's be completely real about that. That should not happen. But I digress. I think this is all my ending thoughts of it. Overall, do I think this is what anni should be looking forward? No, I feel like we should get better rewards for our patience. If they're gonna make League way more viable like this, they have to put in way more effort into the rewards, because I feel like getting 20 gems for being an SS, the top tier, which is not even a multi, is crazy. And I think there's a lot of things that you can improve in this game. All in all, I think, yeah, this is my ending thoughts. The anni was mid.